From high in the mountains of South Wales, the River Towy flows southwards down a narrow and beautiful valley towards Swansea, where it encounters the remains of a once great industrial complex. These film clips were shot in 1963 when the Lower Swansea Valley Project was endeavouring to find solutions for rehabilitating the derelict wasteland close to the centre of Swansea. In the 1800s, as much as half of the world's copper was smelted in the valley. Through the first half of the 20th century, the processing of iron ore, zinc, arsenic, copper and lead, along with numerous coal mines, combined to pollute the air, land and water. As the river neared the sea, it passed the harsh monuments of human industry, the pitheads of coal mines, most now abandoned, the chimney stacks of deserted steel and copper works and derelict smelters. In 1960, this was the largest area of industrial dereliction in Europe. Relics of the mighty industrial past lay crumbling and forgotten. Endless tips of mineral waste and slag almost completely covered the original floor of the valley. Only one large zinc works remained in operation, with one copper mill and an unoccupied government factory hidden among the towering slag heaps. And these were still being extended in 1962. By 1960, much of the land was for sale. This property surely could only be described as a fixer-upper in the most serious sense of the phrase. In places, the ruins had been demolished and a barren, desert-like landscape left behind. This was once the Mannesmann Tube Works. Although once a powerhouse to the world, the valley had become a place of decay and destruction. Local industry was now bent on attracting unwanted waste and goods from as far away as London to be broken up and scrapped in the Swansea Valley. A sad coda to a glorious industrial past. The valley was still crisscrossed with railways, relics of the intricate networks once established to service the industry and coal mine. The mainline trains from London approached their terminus over the magnificent viaduct built across the valley by the great engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. As the trains traversed the valley floor, half hidden among the sprawling waste tips, glimpses could still be seen of the beauty that once was here and that could perhaps be rediscovered, particularly along the river and canal and in the small lakes trapped among the tips. On the sides of the valley, the chapels and their nestling houses cluster on the slopes, relics of the days when the miners and mill workers thronged down the hill in the early mornings. As the works closed down and the smoke started to clear, There were no trees to be seen. The land and the river and its tributary streams were still highly polluted. So in 1961 the Lower Swansea Valley Project was established to produce a comprehensive plan for redevelopment of the area. Experimental plots were established to try out different soil treatments and to monitor existing plant growth on the often toxic tips. Only after this work bore fruit was it possible to begin rehabilitating and replanting the valley. The project employed a varied professional staff. I was the geologist on the project, here using geophysics to help determine foundation conditions for future development. I also took some test movie footage of the landscape with a view to possibly making a film about the project. Although I never made the film, this compilation is the result of that work. A major effort was made through the project to clear the land of old waste. By 1963, work had already begun on the levelling of some of the waste tips to make them less of an eyesore. Some of the tips were also being excavated and recycled for other minerals they might still contain, as the cost of metal ores had increased. This was a successful early recycling effort, as it paid for itself and helped to clear the valley floor. A further major effort was required to encourage and arrange for the destruction of long abandoned factory buildings and their derelict chimney stacks, as here on the east side of the valley. Much of this work was carried out by the Territorial Army. It was hoped that once the results of the project came in and the land had been cleared and treated to reduce contamination, that there would be an ongoing effort by the community to totally redevelop the valley floor. And so it has turned out. After 50 years of community-wide effort, the valley floor is redeveloped with tree-lined roads, commercial and social centres, sports facilities, lakes and parkland. The river is refreshed and its levels regulated, and the slopes of Kilvey Hill are once again covered with trees. Only 2 chimney stacks and some crumbling buildings are left at Hafford out of the hundreds that once generated wealth and power and poured toxic smoke across the valley floor. The Lower Swansea Valley Project has led to a unique community collaboration rehabilitating the abandoned industrial wasteland to the point where thousands of people now once again come to work, shop and play.